Leadership is not something that has to be declared. True leadership is something that radiates naturally from within. And semen retention is one of the most powerful practices that amplifies this inner authority. When a man practices retention, he cultivates self-control over one of the most primal urges that govern male behavior. This act of discipline doesn't just conserve energy, it transforms the man's inner state. His posture, his aura, his decision-making all begin to shift because he is no longer ruled by impulse, but by purpose. Women and men alike notice this difference, and without a single word, he commands attention. Natural leadership is about presence, and semen retention magnifies this presence in ways that are subtle yet deeply impactful. It strengthens character, it builds resilience, and it communicates authority without effort. People gravitate to a man who embodies control, discipline, and focus. And this is why semen retention and leadership are so closely connected. The man who can master himself naturally becomes a leader of others. One of the reasons semen retention fuels leadership is because of the way it transforms energy and confidence. Instead of leaking energy through constant indulgence, the retained life force builds up inside and expresses itself in different forms. Confidence in speech, steadiness in eye contact, and boldness in decision-making. Leadership requires the ability to inspire trust and belief, and that can only come from a man who has belief in himself. Retention boosts testosterone levels and increases mental clarity, both of which contribute to an aura of strength that others respect instinctively. When a man walks into a room with this energy, people pay attention even before he speaks. His body language changes, he stands taller, his shoulders are squared, and his gaze is steady. All of these are nonverbal signals of leadership, and they flow naturally when a man has disciplined himself at the most fundamental level. Women find themselves attracted not just to his physicality, but to the unshakable confidence that radiates from within, while men feel compelled to listen and follow his direction. Another layer of natural leadership born from semen retention is the sense of calm authority it creates. A man who practices retention develops patience, and patience is one of the most underrated qualities of great leaders. Instead of rushing decisions, reacting emotionally, or being swayed by temptations, he remains composed under pressure. This calmness communicates stability, and stability is exactly what others seek in a leader. Women in particular feel safe around such a man because his energy communicates that he is not desperate, needy, or easily shaken. He does not need to prove himself constantly or chase validation. Instead, he exudes an energy of "I am in control," and this draws people in without words. Leadership is not loud or aggressive. It is steady, reliable, and consistent. Semen retention builds these qualities because it trains a man to master his impulses, and this mastery translates into every other aspect of life. Calm authority becomes a natural byproduct of retention, and it is this authority that makes others want to follow. Semen retention also sharpens a man's vision and sense of purpose, which are critical for leadership. Without purpose, there can be no true leadership, because people follow vision, not just personality. By holding onto his life energy, a man begins to channel it into his goals and higher calling. The same energy that could have been lost through temporary pleasure is redirected into creativity, discipline, and long-term achievement. This gives him direction, and direction inspires others. People want to align themselves with someone who knows where he is going, and semen retention helps clarify that path by grounding the mind and strengthening focus. Women are especially sensitive to this quality of purpose. A man with no aim appears weak and unattractive, but a man who radiates focus and mission draws admiration without needing to ask for it. Natural leadership is born from knowing oneself, standing firm in one's values, and moving steadily toward a vision. And semen retention fuels all of these by redirecting life energy into meaningful action. Perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of semen retention and natural leadership is the nonverbal magnetism it creates. True attraction is not about rehearsed lines or forced charm. It is about the silent communication that happens through energy and presence. A man on retention communicates discipline, strength, and vitality through the way he carries himself. His voice has more depth, his eyes carry more intensity, and his movements are more deliberate. These nonverbal cues speak louder than any words, and they make others trust and admire him naturally. Women often describe this as an aura that is hard to define but impossible to ignore. Men describe it as respect that comes without needing to demand it. In both cases, the magnetism is real, and it stems from the energy conserved and redirected through retention. Attraction without words is simply leadership in action, the ability to influence and inspire through presence alone. This magnetism cannot be faked, because it is rooted in discipline and energy that comes from within. In conclusion, semen retention and natural leadership are deeply intertwined because both are about By choosing discipline over indulgence, a man transforms his inner state, and this transformation radiates outward as confidence, calm, authority, and vision. He does not need to convince others of his worth, because his presence alone communicates it. People naturally trust and follow him because he represents stability, purpose, and strength. Women are drawn to him, not because of superficial charm, but because of the safety and power his energy provides. Men respect him because he embodies the discipline they aspire to achieve. Leadership, in its purest form, is attraction without words, and semen retention is the fuel that makes this possible. It creates a living example of strength, resilience, and direction, qualities that the world instinctively recognizes and follows. The man who practices retention steps into his role as a natural leader, not by demand, but by the undeniable force of his presence. Before we conclude, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your location in the comments. I love to know where you're re-watching from. And if you ever have any questions, join our Telegram channel where we interact directly and help each other grow. The link is in the description.